All right, another week where I just turn on the camera and start riffing about AEW Dynamite. A streamline of consciousness, and I kind of like it. I feel like where AEW is now, it's good that I just talk. You know, I can be very critical on everything involving wrestling, and sometimes I have to let these neurons fire so I can get the full scope of what's happening in front of me. You know what I mean? So this is kind of like us grabbing a beer and having a conversation. So thank you for watching, and I appreciate it. So let's talk about Dynamite, which premiered on the 1st of May, 2024. I'm going to surprise you. I am going to praise AEW for the most part. I have my issues. But this is a video where I think AEW, in my opinion, finally did something right when it comes to this Jack Perry scapegoat, evil EVPs, corporate Helmsley McMahon-esque storyline that, as of right now, I still have no idea where it's going, why it's here, what we're even doing. But look, we have an overarching, dare I say, week-to-week storyline with AEW. And you know what? I guess that's better than nothing. That's something we've been complaining about. There are no stories. I guess, at the very least, we got something to keep us watching week to week. Serialized storytelling. Is it great? Is it something that's gonna draw more viewers to AEW? Is it gonna create new fans? No. Not this storyline, no. Serialized storytelling will create new fans. But this one? Let's be real. At the very least, the people who were already fans of AEW, who were already watching it, will stay watching it. Which is better than nothing. But this is not going to create new fans. I will be shocked. I will be floored if the ratings went up. If ratings increase over time. That would mean this storyline was able to fumble fuck its way into something greater than it had every right to be. Which it could. Never say never. I just don't see it happening. And when it comes to what it's doing for Dynamite, the show as a whole, it's doing nothing. When it comes to every other story, every other feud, every other section of the card, the women's division, the tag team division, the mid cards, ain't much going on, y'all. And it was funny because I was watching Dynamite tonight, and I was on social media, and people were like, oh my god, this first hour is a banger. This first hour is amazing. It's one of the best first hours I've ever watched. And I'm just like, am I just wrestling fatigued? Am I watching the same show? Is this Dynamite? Because that first hour did nothing for me. Nothing. Adam Copeland and Buddy Matthews had a good match. It was a really good match. And the story is, Adam will beat every member of the House of Black before he gets to Malachi Black at the pay-per-view. Okay. But that's what it is. It's nothing that's going to, again, make you a fan or going to be on anyone's top 10 greatest storylines of the year. It's just bare bones storytelling. I'm going to beat you, then I'll beat you, and I'll climb up the ladder until I get to the final boss, which is Malachi Black. Fine. Nothing I'm going to go back and watch again. Chris Jericho had I'll be honest with you. I saw a lot of people crapping on his match with Katsuyori Shibata. That's that right? Katsuyori Shibata. Close enough. I had a good time with it. Very Looney Tunes-esque. You had Shibata with the trash can over his body, and Jericho was hitting it, and Shibata just kept on walking. He's hulking up, brother! And then he headbutted him with the trash can. Cackled. I howled. It was amazing. The overall match was? It was a match. Look, I'm going to give Chris Jericho's learning tree gimmick some time to establish itself. You can tell Chris Jericho is trying to figure it out. He has new gear. He's now wrestling in the short tights. Questionable decision there, but he's trying something different. And he's gonna keep trying new things to see what sticks. Cool. Let's see what he can do. He has Big Bill with him now, so that's gonna grow the stable. Not too sure what he wants to do, but I'm getting a Messiah kind of vibe with it. We'll let it play out. I'll let that one play out. You had Serena Deeb, AEW's final boss, beat Mariah May. And after beating Mariah May, she gets a shot at Toni Storm at the pay-per-view. Again, bare bones storytelling. It's not really anything that's going to make me go, oh my god. Samoa Joe beat Isaiah Cassidy. Don't know what that's leading to, but okay. You get me? Like, these are just kind of happening. Is it bad? In a vacuum, I guess not, but it's not doing anything for me. And it didn't help that the crowd was, I don't want to say dead, but almost non-existent. Now, at certain points for big moments and big spots, you could hear them. But outside of that, it was almost like they were wrestling in an empty arena. Arena empty wrestling. Sorry. But they were that quiet. Then I looked up the tickets sold on WrestleTix and found out, 4,000, 4,500 maybe 5,000 max. 4,000 to 5,000 tickets sold in a 16,000 seat arena. And I went, well, no wonder I can't hear the crowd. Stop putting your shows in these big ass arenas that you know you can't sell out for weekly television. Maybe during pay-per-views you can do it, but you're not going to do it for weekly television. Stop it. Yeah, that crowd was not the greatest at all. Sorry. It wasn't. And it hurt the show. Anyone that wants to argue otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about. So you watch the wrestling show for the crowd. The crowd is a part of the show. You know that. I shouldn't have to explain that to you. You're just trying to be difficult. Stop it. The crowd is an important part of the show. If the fans suck, it can bring down the crowd. It can bring down the crowd, but it also can bring down the show. You know what I'm trying to say. What the hell else happened on this particular episode? I can't think of anything else, quite frankly. Let's get to the things that I liked. Let's just get to what everybody wants me to talk about, which is what happened with Kenny Omega, MV Elite, and Jack Perry. And if I miss anything else, we'll talk about it later. What we care about is Kenny, who was the center point of this show. So when they announced that Kenny Omega was coming in, this was after he made the announcement on his Twitch that he was getting surgery on his diverticulitis. For his diverticulitis. Which would mean he would probably be out for a while with a colostomy bag. Yeah. It's not a good thing. But this is a very, very serious condition that could kill you. So listen here. If he ends up having to retire after this surgery, I'm just happy he's alive. Right? So I knew coming into the show, they were going to beat him up. They were going to do something to write him off for a long time. I didn't imagine it would be what it was. And it's a good thing that it was what it was. So, first thing I liked, we opened the show with Tony Khan. Hi, I'm Tony Khan. And mid-sentence, they cut him off. They being the Young Bucks, or the EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. They cut him off. They cut the feed off. They take it to them. And then they say, we're running shit now. We are running AEW. And we can't be fired because we have ironclad contracts. That's such a cop-out, but whatever. I guess you can say it works because they're the founders of AEW, so alright. Ironclad contracts, so we can't be fired, and we can do whatever we want. And then that's basically what happened. They essentially took over the show. They took over the show, and that's the story going forward. Now they make the decisions. This is McMahon-Helmsley era type of booking, and some of you are like, what? That happened like over 20 years ago, so don't worry. This is fine. This is fine. I'm cool with this. I actually prefer this. It doesn't really add much to the show because the Young Bucks are always in charge. That was my thing, too. People were like, oh my god, this is fresh, new storytelling. I'm like, guys, they were always in charge. Y'all do realize that they were helping with the tag team division since day one, right? Yes, ultimately Tony Khan decides what goes on TV, but the Young Bucks have always played a huge part in the tag team division. So them running the show isn't all that different. They're just doing it on camera. So let's calm down. I prefer it, but let's calm down. Then they announced that Swerve Strickland will be fighting Christian Cage. Now, I have a lot to say about this. I don't want to speak too much about it because I do want to get to Kenny Omega. This is going on a little bit longer. The rant's going on a little bit longer, and I apologize. I'll make up for it in the section where I'm praising them. Don't worry, just hang on. I'm gonna get there. So, Swerve Strickland, the world champ, first ever black world champion, by the way. I know that pisses you off. I don't give a shit. Deal with it. AEW Black World Champ. Correcting myself there. It doesn't really feel like he's being treated as the focal point of the show. And that's a problem for me. So he comes out, he opens the show, which is great, which is what he should have done last week. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, so who is going to fight this guy? Who do they have currently on the roster that's ready to fight him? Maybe Konosuke Takeshita? Maybe? I don't know. So I was sitting here like, okay, well, let's see where this goes. Let's see who they're going to bring out. And then in my head, I'm thinking, did Hangman Adam Page come back yet? Which, by the way, if they were going to do Hangman Page and Swerve Strickland at Double or Nothing, I think they're going to do it later. But if they were going to do it, that would have been absolutely perfect. The perfect main event for Double or Nothing. Add a stipulation to it that would make it all the more fire. I quit. Or, I don't know, 3 stages of hell. Something. It would have been the perfect take my money main event. But that's not what we got. We got Christian Cage, which... Are they going to have a good match? Yes. But really, who here would pay $50 for Christian Cage and Swerve? Don't give me that bullshit about, well, maybe they'll tell a good story, or maybe they'll have a fantastic match. Guys, they barely have anything to do with each other. What? Christian and Swerve were tag team partners at All In for like one night. Okay, that was basically it. And then what else? I don't remember much else. I feel like they had another interaction. Oh, and freaking Nick Wayne got attacked by Swerve. So this is like, again, scrounging up pieces to make this work. But no, like, this isn't a match that I would pay $50 for. Would I like to see it? Sure, on Dynamite. But as a main event for Double or Nothing, fuck that. No. So that's my only issue with it. The only reason I'm not going to lose my mind over it too much is because this guarantees that Swerve is going to be retaining at the pay-per-view. He's not losing to Christian Cage. On the flip side, they could have did Jack Perry and Swerve Strickland, which would have been an even better match, and that would have so much heat behind it. But then you risk this idea that he could lose the belt to Jack Perry, which, you know what? I'm kind of happy he did do Christian in that sense, because let's not get too crazy. That would be the ultimate Vince Russo kind of booking. All right, Jack Perry has all the heat in the world. Maybe we should give him the belt. No. He can win a championship, and he should win a championship. Don't know which one, but we'll probably make one for him. Anyways, no, do not give him the world title. Do not do that. Okada, sure. Maybe Okada. But even then, it's still too soon. But Jack Perry, absolutely not. Now we can finally talk about Kenny Omega. All right, here we go. Now you can relax. You can unclutch your butt cheeks. We can get to the positive stuff. I know y'all were just like, God damn, he is ripping this show apart. Where's the positive stuff? Here you go. Kenny Omega comes out. And Winnipeg, I love the entrance. The intro by Justin Roberts was magnificent. Magnificent. Kenny Omega comes out, and he's walking pretty well. I'm like, for someone that has diverticulitis, he seems to be okay. He looks good. Doesn't seem frail. But, again, I've never had diverticulitis. He could be just no-selling it. But I remember the night him and Chris Jericho did that segment with Ricky Starks and, was it Big Bill? And I thought that segment was horrible, and it looked like Kenny did not want to be there. He did not look good. And so I think back to that segment, and compared to this segment, Kenny looks 100 times better in this segment, but who knows? He comes out, he gets on the microphone, and he cuts what I thought was one of the most heartfelt, emotional, raw, real promos that I've heard him cut probably ever. Talking about how after watching Dynasty and watching that match between Bryan Danielson and Will Ospreay, it made him shake. It made him shake like he was a man on drugs, going through withdrawal, because he wanted to get back inside the ring and wrestle, but he knew he couldn't because he's scared if he took a bump, he would die. Like that kind of shit, that kind of raw emotion is what I look for in wrestling. And part of the reason why I fell in love with AEW. Fucking fantastic promo. And I said to myself, man, I really hope he comes back. Because you just don't know with these kind of diseases. He could get surgery and then all of a sudden he'll be fine within a couple of months, but then he might not. He might be out longer because you don't know how his recovery is going to go. So him going under the knife, you don't know what that's going to do. So that's why his promo worked. So he's interrupted by Kazuchika Okada. Great pop, because these two, according to Dave Meltzer, and you know what, according to a lot of other people, had the greatest match in wrestling history. Dominion 2018. Okada, Omega, 7 stars. It's a classic match. And so Omega told him, give me a couple of months. I'm coming for that ass. Pause. And then all of a sudden, he gets attacked from behind by Jack Perry. And then here's the thing. When he got attacked, he took a bump. I said, he hit that back kind of hard. It was a bump. He took a bump. All right, maybe that was just that one bump. He's not going to take another one. Nope. Got back up. Hit a Snapdragon suplex, which requires him to take a bump. It requires him to hit the mat. Then he's up. He's selling. He goes to do the V-trigger, and he's moving quick and fast. And I'm like, wait a minute. I thought this man was hurt. He's hurt, right? Maybe he's just no-selling it that much. But then he gets, boom, hit in the gut with a steel chair. And then, as you know, here come the EVPs. They hit the EVP trigger, boom, and then Okada was going to hit him with the Rainmaker, and then FTR come out. They make the save. So, if that would have been it, I would have been like, okay, well, that's a very safe way to write him off TV. He took a couple of bumps. That's not going to hurt him too much. But that wasn't it. Now, cameras follow Omega backstage as he's being loaded on a stretcher and then being carried to the ambulance, right? They follow him backstage. The EVPs stop the stretcher. They start attacking the paramedics, attack, of course, FTR, who do come in to save him. They get up to Kenny, they go, change the world? We're going to change the world, buddy, but not without, not without doing this to you. They take the stretcher and just flip it over. And Kenny splat on concrete. He hit the ground hard. And I said to myself, okay, so either he is cleared, because they wouldn't be doing that to him if he was, if they didn't have absolute certainty that it would not do more damage. So either he's cleared, or that was one of the dumbest things you could have done, because you could have exacerbated his injury. I don't know which one it was, but either decision got me fired up. One in a bad way, the other in a very, very excited way. I'm hoping it's the excited one, which means he's cleared and he'll be back for All In. Hoping. We don't know. But he's going to be off TV anyways to sell that. I saw that, and you could just feel the heat. You could feel the heat on the Elite. Them laughing, cackling. Like evil sons of bitches. Crowd booing their asses off. This is everything you guys wanted last week to be. Unpopular opinion. I don't give a fuck. That shit last week was hokey. It was embarrassing. It was horrible. People weren't mad at the EVPs for beating up Tony Khan. They were laughing at Tony Khan. They were laughing. Your favorite content creators that might come up here and say, that was a good angle. No, it wasn't, because they were laughing at it too. If it was meant to evoke the right emotion, which was make you hate the Elite, then they would be talking about how they were good heels and how they want to see Tony Khan or someone give them their comeuppance. No, they were laughing at it. And then Tony Khan going around with his neck brace and then going on NFL Network saying that WWE is the Harvey Weinstein of professional wrestling completely killed all of that goodwill as well. Everything about last week embarrassed AEW. Embarrassed AEW. I don't give a damn what you have to say. It was horrible. But everything you wanted last week to be, we got it this week. This was everything I loved and have loved about AEW over the last 5 years. Everything they did with Kenny Omega, from his promo to his beatdown to him being carried off and then flipped over to the heat that the Elite got. Mwah! Chef's kiss. I thought it was great. I thought, look, I might not have liked what they did with Dynamite tonight, but that ending was fire. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. People can have their opinions about it, but you know it worked. You felt like. You don't even need me to tell you. You could feel like it worked. That was an immaculate angle, and I actually do think it succeeded in giving the Elite, this new Elite, all kinds of heel heat. So now, okay, you got me wanting to see someone kick their ass. Now I want to pay to see FTR beat the Young Bucks. Now I want to pay Kenny Omega, hopefully to come back soon, and beat Okada. And I want somebody to beat the living fuck out of that snot-nosed brat, Jack Perry. Which is what you want. You want people to pay to see them get beat. And that segment did that. So, last week I was mocking you with a round of applause. Now I'm actually applauding you. That was a great way a great way to end a show that I thought was very hollow and lifeless. But the main storyline, which was about Kenny Omega, was done very well. And so now, you got me thinking, okay, what next? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Well, that's the ultimate question, huh? It doesn't really feel like there's any kind of long-term plan as of right now with this evil new elite stable. Things are just kind of happening, which is fine. I mean, at some point in time, we're going to need some kind of a serialized long-term story where, okay, we know what the end game is, and we can't wait to get to it, right? We can foresee the end game. I can't foresee any kind of end game with this, which is not a good thing. It's not. Because that means it's directionless, and anything can happen, anything can go wrong. So that's not something you want. So let's see what they come up with, because I'm still trying to figure out what the point of any of this is. Why we're here. Yes, congratulations. You have a heel stable that does their job. They get heat. They've gotten heat, finally, by beating up Kenny Omega. They didn't have it last week. They have it now. So what do you do with it? Again, no one's fighting Swerve Strickland from the Elite. Swerve's fighting Christian, which we all know Swerve will beat him. It'll be a great match, but Swerve will beat him. I guess the Young Bucks will take on FTR again? So soon? I don't know. I have no idea what Okada's gonna do. Who does Okada fight? You see what I mean? There really isn't much long-term storytelling with these guys right now. It's just kind of week to week here and there. But it did just start, so they do have time to make something work. But I want to remind you, that Double or Nothing show in Las Vegas, it's in 3 weeks from this Sunday. It's 3 weeks from this Sunday. So it's not like you got 2 months to build to it. If they had a good 2 months or so, I would be chilling. I'd be like, okay, well, let's see what they got. They got plenty of time. You got 3 weeks to build to your next show. And if the plan is for this to be the overarching storyline, which I'm assuming is going to build to All In and maybe All Out, then you better get your act together and start getting some kind of through line story here that will keep us invested week to week. Because that's what you need. You need something that fans can invest in from week to week to week to week to week. And just because you have a story that's serialized, that doesn't mean that it's good. That just means you have a story that's serialized. You need to calm down and stop acting like that AEW is on fire, that it's not cold. It's still very cold. It's still trying to get back on its feet. It's still trying to find its groove again. It's not there yet. It's improved, but it's still got a lot of work to do. Clearly, it has a lot of work to do. But I do like what they did here tonight. And I hope and pray that they can take the heat they got from Kenny and turn it into something that's worth a damn. See, now I can finally get invested in this evil stable because we moved far away from CM Punk and we moved far away, hopefully, from Tony Khan too. Get away from Tony Khan, get away from CM Punk. Those two were just whatever the fuck you wanted that to be or thought it would be. Whatever. Just put them to the side. Don't bring them up. You can bring up Tony here and there. I would rather you don't, but fine. It's part of the story. Don't even think about bringing up CM Punk. Just leave it alone. Tony Khan, fine. I'd rather you don't. The main focus should be, look at what we did to your hero, CM Punk. Look what we did to your hero, Kenny Omega. Look at what we did to him. Anybody that fucks with us, you're next. Ooh, I want them to get their asses kicked. Let's see what they do. So there you go. I praise AEW. You happy now? all you do is just hate on AEW. You're just mad that CM Punk got fired. No. I, unlike other content creators, tell it like it is. I tell the truth. I tell my truth. I don't give a shit about other people's perspectives. That's their perspective. I'm not here to regurgitate what other people say. You want that, you can go subscribe to basically any other content creator. I'm just joking. I'm playing around. No, real talk, a lot of other content creators do that. They hear what the other big names are saying, and then, well, I guess this is what we had to say because he said it and he said it. He has 100,000 subscribers, and oh my God, he has 100,000 too. So I guess what they say is what everyone has to say. No, you have your own mind, your own voice. I have my own views, my own thoughts, my own eyes, and my own mouth. I am not Solid Monster. I am not JD. I'm not good mic work. I am just Alyx. I have my own thoughts, my own views. You are allowed to agree or disagree. But understand this. I will never come up here and just regurgitate what anyone else says. And anyone else doing that are people you should not be listening to because they do not have a mind of their own. You deserve someone that's going to give you the truth in the face of everybody else saying that this show was good. I'll sit here and tell you it really wasn't all that good. It was pretty hollow, but that ending segment was great. That's what you need. I am coming from the standpoint of someone that's talking to a man or a woman or someone who doesn't watch wrestling. And if they were to get into wrestling, how would they view it? That's how they would view it. All these other talking heads are people who are too far in the bubble. They're so closed off in the bubble. That's all they see. They don't step out, dip their foot out into reality and understand that, okay, I might think it's good or I might think it's bad, but here's what the rest of the world thinks. I want AEW to do well. I want AEW to survive. No, not survive, thrive. I want AEW to be its best self because AEW at its best is good for the wrestling business. Period. End of story. Hopefully, we got something coming for them in the future. All right, thank you guys for watching. Give me your thoughts about, oh my God, they killed Kenny down below. And we'll go from here, I guess, to Double or Nothing where they'll do something with the Elite. That's my thoughts. Thank you for watching. Do all the YouTube things. Like the video, subscribe, and click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Donate, PayPal, Patreon, Cashapp, and Venmo. And I guess I'll catch you next time right here in Alyx's world. The place that is, was, and forever, ever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. Peace out.